What's up, YouTube? This is James coming back at you with another informative video. How y'all doing on this fine Saturday evening? I hope y'all weekend going as good as mine. It's been a very relaxing one so far. I was trying to come down with some kind of cold, for the last past couple days, but I'm feeling pretty good now, you know. Well, this story right here was sent to me by Sister Pat Hughes, and she sent this to my wife actually. And shout out to her for giving me the story. Much love and appreciation for that. It took place in Granger County, Indiana. Well, I'm just about sure that judgment has been cast upon law enforcement here in this country. I've made several videos about what's actually taking place against law enforcement. By their own hands, by hands of course, criminals. That's going to happen too, but it's really something when they doing it to themselves or a family member doing it, as in this case right here, 11-year-old boy shoots his father, who is a state trooper. He's an officer, state trooper, and everything in the pelvis. I'm like, when I first, heard about this, I'm like, damn, I know for a fact, the Most High is bringing judgment, upon these so-called police officers who was sworn uphold and protect. But well, we know how it's been going in this country and the things that they've been doing, and when the good ones look the other way, when they see the bad ones do, wrong, well, guess what? Bad things are going to come to you for that, because you made an oath, to swear, you were sworn in to protect and serve. See, now if you got a fellow officer beside you, you bumping shoulders with, that's basically a criminal with a badge. You supposed to take him down. Now, before we get into this video right here, I'm gonna show y'all some very interesting spectators that's hovering around, and I bet seen everything, because see, the Most High's eyes go to and fro throughout the entire earth, and they everywhere, and I bet you they know for a fact what took place at this house that day, starting with these up here. If you can look now, you see this face right here. These are up in the trees right here. That's where a lot of where they hang out at. When they're outdoors, they like being in trees. And you can see his eyes right here, eyes here. But, I think as it said in either the Book of Jubilees or the Book of Enoch, the Most High's angels are like a collaboration of faces within faces. So, okay, you see this face right here, right? But right above it, where his forehead and his eyes, it'd be his forehead and his eyes. Right above it right here goes into a nose of another one. And you see his eyes right here. So it's like one, giant face with faces in it. This whole part out here. I mean, all of this right here. Here's another one. Same thing. You can see his eyes, his nose, his face. Even right here, same thing. Eyes. Then his nose, But then you go over here to the left. See? Here's another one. Right here is his mouth. But then here's a nose and his eyes that goes up into another face. Right here. Then there's another face. Y'all just look closely. You can't miss them. They are everywhere. Then you got these over here. Same thing. They are everywhere. I plan on doing another video on another particular police officer who just went to a man's house and just murdered him, and then told a lie and said, she thought that it was her house and it was a robber in her house. Some bullshit. Just ludicrous lies. You know what I mean? But and they've been badgering the witness who actually got her on film and everything. And they've been badgering her and harassing her and just taking her through the mud and everything, and cause her even lose her job. But I'm going to do a video on that, and like, her defense team is actually bullying that witness. But see, one thing I'm for sure, there are other witnesses that was there that night, and I can guarantee you her defense team will not save her from those witnesses. See, and here go some over here too, as you can see him, his eyes right here, you know, his nose right here, eye right here. See, they all through here, all through and through. Here's one down here, kind of look like a bear, him, you know. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get into this video so we can get into the story. Make sure we got everything going. Let's see what happened.
This is the home on Conover Drive in Granger where police say the shooting happened. Makowski lives here with his family. While off duty late last night, Metro homicide investigators say Makowski's 11-year-old son shot him in the pelvis. He was taken to the hospital, underwent surgery, and is now in semi-stable condition. There are still a lot of unanswered questions, like how did the shooting happen and why? But one neighbor says she wasn't surprised when she heard the news.
I said, well, we knew it was going to happen sooner or later.
She agreed to talk to WSBT if we did not identify her, but she feels strongly about bringing what she calls known issues to light.
The behavior out of that child's escalated throughout the years. I personally have had issues with him and my child. DCS has been involved before.
She says the Department of Children's Services created a safety plan for the boy after a serious fight this fall injured another neighborhood child. But she says it's not enough to keep everyone safe.
They've done all the paperwork. They've done all the safety plans. They've done the preaching. They've done the counseling. They've done this. They've done that. Nothing's working. So I begged for the prosecutors to actually get involved and get this under control before we're sitting at a bigger funeral.
Okay, so what they're doing here is actually painting this kid as an unruly child. So there's been some problems, you know what I mean? But well, it's one of these situations. Okay, as we know, it says Indiana, 11-year-old accused of shooting his state trooper father. Okay. Granger, Indiana, WSBT/CNN, an Indiana state trooper has been hospitalized after being shot in his home. Prosecutors say 11-year-old son is in custody on preliminary attempted murder charge. A home on Conover Drive in Granger, where police say the shooting happened. Matt Makowski lives here with his family. Okay. While off duty, Metro homicide investigators say Makowski's 11-year-old son shot him in the pelvis. Damn. He was taken to the hospital, underwent surgery, and is now in semi-stable condition. There are still a lot of unanswered questions, like how did the shooting happen and why? But one neighbor says she wasn't surprised when she heard the news. Well, the thing is with that neighbor, you know, like she said, I guess she had some problems out there, boy, before. You know what I mean? Most likely probably what happened, you know, the officer tried to discipline his son, and the boy went and got his gun and shot him. You know, from the way it sounds, you know, what have you. But I'm just telling you, man, it's so many crazy things that's happening to police officers. It was one just last month where two of them, a woman was killed by a fellow police officer, you know, and they said it was talking about some friendly fire. And come to find out, they was playing, well, still allegedly, as far as I'm concerned, playing Russian roulette. You know, Russian roulette. That's what the story is. I think it was something a little bit deeper, you know, behind it, you know. Back to the story, it says, I said, well, we knew it was going to happen sooner or later, said the neighbor, who asked to be not identified. Excuse me. She feels strongly about what she calls known issues to light. The behavior out of this child was escalated through the years. I personally have had issues with him and my child. DCS has been involved before, said the neighbor. Yeah, we heard her say that. This is too bad. That's just too bad. She says the Department of Children's Services created a safety plan for the boy after a serious fight this fall injured another neighborhood child. But she says it's not enough to keep everyone safe. Evidently, it's not. Shit, he shot his own dad. That's terrible. You know? So what they going to do with him? That's the question. You know? Chances are, being that he's a child of a police officer, they going to probably let him do a little time in the detention center somewhere, and then let him back out. You know, slap him on the wrist, let him back out. Because 9 times out of 10, his own father and his mother going to plead for him, you know, to get some help. And it's going to be no more than probably about 2 to 5 years, and that's that. Get back out, ain't going to be no different. See? They've done all of the paperwork. They've done all the safety plans. They've done all of the preaching. They've done all of the counseling. They've done this. They've done that. Nothing is working, so I beg for the prosecutor to actually get involved and get this under control before we are sitting in a bigger funeral, said the neighbor. The boy is being held at the Juvenile Justice Center in South Bend. Well, the boy that bad, the funeral, it might be his funeral, you know, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of times that's just how they wind up. You know, if the law can't, if, you know, the families can't do nothing with them, then they wind up in prison, you know, and then he back out on the street. A lot of times they don't make it, you know. Ain't no place good for them to have them but the ground. That's just the way it is. But y'all tell me what y'all think about this situation. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And this is James, and I'm out. Peace.